All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So this is Chris Berry with Castle Wealth Group. We do these weekly wisdom webinars every Wednesday where we answer legal, financial, tax planning questions. So if you do have a question, feel free to put it in the Q&A. And I always like to start with a positive focus, just something positive that's happened over the last week or so. And biggest thing is my son. He's finishing up his driver's training. So he completed driver's training, so he's putting in his hours, and he's just about done with all of his hours, which is kind of crazy to think that now I have a kid that could be driving pretty soon. So that's pretty fun. But again, if you do have a legal, financial, tax plan question, feel free to put it in the Q&A. This week, the one thing I was going to talk about is, so with this big, beautiful bill that just got passed July 4th, everyone's still trying to kind of process it because it was over 900 pages. But there is one thing that's kind of interesting because I do have clients who are looking at like, how can I leave money to grandkids and stuff like that? Should it go into like a 529 or something like that? So this week, what I wanted to just touch upon is the new, I guess, for a better term, it's called the Trump accounts, where if there is a child born from kind of like now till 2028, the government will put in $1,000 into basically a retirement account for them, which is kind of interesting. But then also parents, grandparents, anyone can contribute to these for like a better term, and it's what it's called, these Trump accounts. So questions like, what are these Trump accounts? So first of all, understand that these are not even in effect yet. It looks like it's going to be July 2026 when these will be implemented. And really what it is a way to leave money, maybe $5,000 to $6,000 a year to like a minor, but it's basically going into an IRA for them. Okay. So the idea is that you can leave $5,000 to $6,000 a year to a minor child, and then it has to be post-tax money. So it's not like you can use like your pre-tax dollars and just move the money into the account. You have to use post-tax dollars to move it into this account. But it's basically a way to almost contribute to an IRA for a child, even if they don't have earned income. And really, that's the big thing is that I have a lot of my clients, like grandparents, will contribute to their kids or grandkids, like retirement accounts, but they have to have earned income. So with these Trump accounts, the way it's going to work is that you can contribute $5,000 to $6,000 per year, uh, and it's going to work basically like an IRA for the kids, where if, first of all, they cannot pull the money out until they're 18. But if they were to pull the money out from 18 to 59 and a half, they'd have to pay that 10% penalty that is due if you pull money out of a pre-tax account prior to 59 and a half. So these are going to be tax deferred accounts. So it's not like a Roth IRA. So understand that this money isn't growing tax free, it's growing tax deferred. The purpose of this was to like start investing and see like compounding growth, but really understand that this is also just growing a future tax bill, because understand all this growth that's going to happen is growing tax deferred, and understand that the grandkids or the minors, when they pull this money out in the future, they're going to have to pay taxes on it. So it is an interesting opportunity because I do get questions quite often of like, hey, I want to leave some money to the grandkids. Should I leave it in a 529? Should I fund a Roth? Should I put it into an UPMA account? And so now with these new Trump accounts, it is another option. Um, but the biggest thing that, or the biggest takeaway I have is understand that it's going into a pre-tax account, meaning when the grandkids or the minors pull this money out when they're 59 and a half, understand they're going to have to pay tax on that. So it is another opportunity. Depending on the situation, maybe it makes sense. But it is just kind of one of the nuggets in that bill that was passed July 4th is these new Trump accounts. And again, these aren't even available yet. They're going to be available, it looks like July 2026. And again, if there is a child that's born from now till 2028, the government will add an extra $1,000 to that account, which, hey, free money is free money. So you always want to take the free money. Um, so it is an interesting planning opportunity. Just another thing to think about if you're looking at leaving money to grandkids or leaving money to kids under the age of 18. Because I do get in situations where clients set up like UPMAs and UGMAs, where now the money like turns over to the kid at 18 or 21, and we're trying to figure out like, maybe it doesn't make sense for them to manage it. So this is another kind of planning opportunity. There are some other options out there. Like I do have clients looking at like cash value life insurance that can be used tax-free and that type of thing. But as part of this bill that just got passed, it is another, I guess, planning opportunity of if you're looking at leaving money to a minor child and you don't want to just obviously give it outright to them. Um, it is a way to leave money to them. But again, it has to be post-tax money. So this is money you've already paid tax on. And then it goes into account that grows tax deferred, which on its face sounds good, but understand a lot of my clients, as they get into retirement age, they have a lot of their money tax deferred, and now they have a huge tax bill in retirement. And um, the biggest thing is understand it's you cannot do like a Roth version of this. So it cannot grow tax free. So um, not to be cynical, but I look at this as a way to try to raise more uh, revenue for the federal government in the future. Because again, understand that like, okay, if you put in $5,000 a year for 18 years and then it grows until the child reaches 60, yeah, you've grown a big number, but understand you also are growing a big tax bill. So um, it is a opportunity, but just understand if you're concerned about where taxes are going in the future, it might not be the best choice. And I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't explore that. It's just understand what we're getting into and understand why they probably looked at doing this. Because the more you defer paying taxes, the bigger that number grows, assuming the markets continue to go up. And it's not like you're growing a huge, um, you are growing a nest egg, but understand you're also growing a tax bill at the same time. And so I would have been more excited had these been like Roth accounts where this money grows tax free, but that's not what it is. This money is growing tax deferred. And understand that any minors who are pulling money out, if they pull it out prior to 59 and a half, they're going to pay, not only are they going to pay the tax, but they have to pay a 10% penalty. And then if they do take it out after 59 and a half, there's no penalty, but they still have to pay the tax. So I would view this really as a way to contribute to a minor child's IRA, um, but not a Roth. So the idea is this is money that is going to be used in retirement. I'm not saying don't do it, just understand how it works from a tax perspective. So if you're looking at leaving money to a minor child, maybe especially if the child is born from now over the next couple of years, it might be an option because again, you're going to get free money from the government. So that part's awesome. But just understand that it's growing tax deferred. So hopefully that's helpful trying to understand how these kind of Trump savings accounts work. Uh, Along the same lines, what about setting up a brokerage account with a child or grandkid being a beneficiary? Again, that is one of the options. So I do have a lot of clients that they'll just set aside like a brokerage account that's post-tax, um, grows. Now you have to pay tax on the gains, but you don't have to pay tax on the whole thing. So that part may be more appealing. And to be honest, I'm surprised more people don't just set up like a separate brokerage account versus some of these like specific accounts because again, there's a lot of handcuffs on the specific accounts like UTMAs and UGMAs. Like you could open up a brokerage account, keep it in your name, maybe name the trust as a beneficiary, and then say that specific account goes to the kid. And then while you're alive, if you do want to gift money to the kid, you certainly can. So that's a good question. All right, here's another question that just came in. I took a distribution from a Roth. It generated a 1099, which caused my medical insurance to count as income. I'm wondering if there's a way to withdraw without generating a 1099. Um, so with that, I would have to know more details because if you take a distribution from a Roth IRA, there shouldn't be any tax, which shouldn't affect your income or your IRMAs, which is when you have to, if you have too much income, basically for a married couple over $212,000, if you have more income than that, then you have to pay additional like Medicare premiums. So the question of getting a 1099 on Roth, that doesn't really make sense. There has to be something else going on there. So, all right. That's really all I have this week. Again, if you do have any legal financial tax planning questions, we do these once a week. And really, I just come in and answer any of those questions that are submitted. So with that, make it a great week. Take care. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.